Hey there. This is the Real Housewives of Real Estate.
Hi.
And I am Kinsey
Hello.
Lee Eggles, and we are here live with Marco Kasel from Remax in Luxembourg. So, we're going to talk a little bit about his business, how COVID-19 has been affecting his business and his livelihood in Luxembourg. And, we're just going to do what we do, chit chat a little bit, learn a little bit about each other, and go on from there. So we'll go ahead and introduce ourselves. I'm Kinsey Lee Eggles. I am with Remax Realty Group in Southwest Florida.
And I'm Sandra Massari with Remax Excellence in Kennett Square, Pennsylvania, just outside of Philly, but I'm also licensed in Delaware and Maryland.
And I am Maria Scripp, and I'm the broker owner of Remax Dream, serving Beaufort, Bluffton, and Hilton Head, South Carolina.
And my name is Marco Kasel, and I work with Remax Immo specialists in Luxembourg City in Luxembourg.
Excellent. So when did you get started in real estate, and why did you choose real estate as your career, your profession?
Well, I'm in my fourth year, and I chose real estate because I was actually in the States. I was in the US for 10 years and 10 years in Canada, and as a musician. So, and I started my own business there, which was a company that placed musicians on cruise ships. And when I came back to Luxembourg, I wanted to keep working as an independent, but that business was no longer happening. So I needed to find, a different niche, a different industry. And so my sister talked me into real estate, and here I am.
Awesome. And
you have to look out for me because I may make you play a song. I'm known for that, so watch out.
Okay.
yeah, what instrument do you play, or do you sing, or do you play multiple instruments?
Yeah, I play multiple instruments, but on cruise ships, I was mainly a drummer. So drummer and the band leader. And then when I quit cruise ships myself, I started a company that placed musicians there.
Oh,
But since I've gotten back to Luxembourg, I haven't played, so it's mainly real estate for now. It's keeping me busy. So no more music at the moment.
Well, Kinsey manages a band or two, so we can have you fill in.
Okay.
I do. So, I have my real estate business. I also manage a Southern rock band called Blackfoot, and I have a nonprofit organization as well called Don't Bury Good Organs, which raises awareness for the importance of being an organ donor, because I'm an organ transplant recipient. So I also have a little gig in the music industry, which is a lot of fun. And, my guys are awesome.
Cool.
Yeah. So how is Luxembourg, and what is your daily schedule, your rules and your regulations right now? As we've learned, different areas have different regulations and protocols due to COVID-19.
Yeah, so Luxembourg is surrounded by lots of countries, so Belgium, France, and Germany, and we're not that far from Italy as well. So when the virus hit, we immediately knew about it, and luckily our government jumped on it right away, and pretty much closed down the entire country. So we are not allowed to do much. I mean, officially they haven't shut us down. They haven't told us real estate agents that our businesses are closed. But at the same time, they keep telling our clients to stay home, and they keep telling us that we can't do visits. So, in effect, we are closed. So we can go out, for walks in the forest or so. We can bike around, but we can't socialize. We are supposed to wear masks at all time. And we are now, so the curve of infected people has flattened out for the last 2 weeks. So we are now in phase 1 of our deconfinement. So basically that means,
What
Yeah,
does that
so
mean?
they have they came up with 3 phases, and phase 1 is basically they've opened up the construction industry. So because in Luxembourg we have a very big shortage of homes, so we have lots of people that come to Luxembourg to work, from France, from Belgium, from pretty much everywhere. So we don't have enough homes, and they wanted to not exasperate the problem by not finishing the buildings that are in construction right now. So the first thing they did is open construction, so that they can work on that while we try to slowly ease other people into work again. So phase 2 will start, I think, on the 20th, if I'm not mistaken, where they'll send some college kids back to school. And then phase 3 would be where they are sending the younger kids to school. And then hopefully they will then also open, commercial restaurants and all kinds of, including us, I hope, because, we can't do much right now.
It sounds like rolling it out pretty quickly, though. So you guys must really be doing good as far as you can be with COVID.
Yeah, I think we are a little bit ahead of you guys. So it started earlier, and then they jumped on it very quickly, and they got it under control very quickly. We also never had any issues with not having enough hospital beds or anything like that. We have enough masks. We have enough of everything, basically. So they did a pretty good job with that. And so because that curve has been flattening, and the number of infected people has been going down for quite a while now, that's where they're starting to think of opening things up again. Some other countries like Austria, they are even further ahead of us. They've opened up more, and now Germany is thinking about opening up more too. So slowly but surely we're getting there.
Yeah. Now, have you been able to do any virtual showings or with your clients?
Yes. So we've been doing all kinds of webinars, like Remax Luxembourg, and then Remax Europe, and then Remax International did a whole bunch of webinars, and I've been following them all. And everyone kept saying, we got to do virtual tours and stuff. So we started doing it, but people are so. People think that the industry is closed, so no one's calling. People are apprehensive. I even have listings that I signed before the confinement happened, and those people don't want me to commercialize their homes because they think that they don't get enough buyers. We have been doing a couple of sales, but they are few and far in between, so there's not much happening. And although we try to get people to engage in videos, we're sending videos, we'll do all kinds of Facebook Live and I don't know what to try to get to talk to our clients, but because they've been told over and over and over to stay home and to not go anywhere, that's what they do. They just stay home.
Is most of your business permanent residency or tourism?
Most of our business is of people that come here to work here.
Okay.
There's lots of big companies like Amazon, Google, PayPal, Ernst & Young, Deloitte, KPMG, and they attract people from all over the world. And so when they come here to work here, they need to live somewhere. So we have to find them places. And in Luxembourg, citizens, so people that have been here forever, they have a 70% rate of investment in real estate. So most people here in Luxembourg own real estate. So they sell and buy a lot of real estate.
Are these typically mainly cash buyers or financed?
I think both. Those that have invested more often in the past, they may be cash buyers, but I think maybe 2/3 financing and 1/3 cash, I would say.
And what is your average price point in Luxembourg?
So the average home is 500,000 euros.
Okay.
A typical house, that's big enough for a family with 2 or 3 kids, that it's very quickly close to 1 million. euros. But apartments, they go, I would say, from 350 to up to 1.2 million or so. So yeah, we've had a really hot market for the past 20 years. I mean, even through the last financial crisis, real estate went up throughout the entire crisis. And so, yeah, it's been a hot seller's market. Yeah.
That's awesome. And that's good to hear. And so just because you're kind of at a little bit of a standstill right now, your market, once you go through your phases of opening, you should be right back on track.
Yeah, people ask me all the time, how I think the market will be affected by this. And there's two things that we know for sure is that the demand is still going to be there here in Luxembourg. That's not going to change because people are still going to come here to work. So that's not going to change. So demand's there. And the other thing we know for sure, excuse me, it's hot because I put all my lights up here so that you can see me. So it's kind of hot here. The other thing I know for sure is that many of us agents, we have signed listings before and during the COVID-19 and haven't commercialized them yet. So once it picks up, there will be a spike in homes that come up for sale because it's like a pent up listing extravaganza.
Right. Our inventory is low right now also. And we're still considered essential. So we can still list and sell real estate. Obviously with social distancing, I've been running my entire business virtually, and it's, but my personally, I'm down about, 75% of where I was at this time last year, which is, and typically our busiest months are April, May, and then those closings going into March, April, May, June. And so we're kind of taking a little bit of a rest until we're back to functioning normal. And then Sandy, do you want to explain a little bit about real estate, Sandy, in Pennsylvania and how your business is working there right now?
Yeah, here in Pennsylvania, we're considered non-essential, which also means our contractors, appraisers, unless they can just do a online virtual appraisal, there's no in-person meetings. The inspectors can't even work. So we're kind of shut down for that. People are listing and getting things under contract, and things are kind of put on hold until hopefully May 1st or May 15th, something like that. The governor still has not decided exactly when we can go back to work. And then it's going to be still limited based on county, townships by the number of cases in the area. Delaware and Maryland is still considered essential, but we're required, to wear masks, keep distances. Like for Delaware, if you come into Delaware, they want you to self-quarantine yourself for 14 days when you return home. Mm-hmm. And no out-of-town buyers. So if you're only living in Delaware, you can only buy in Delaware at the moment. You can't come from another state and purchase a home or, start touring homes right now. Yeah.
Yeah, we have the added complexity that because we're so close to other countries, we have borders. Mm-hmm. So France closed their borders. Mm-hmm. So that created a problem because in the health industry, the nurses and doctors that we really need, a very large percentage of those are coming from France. So our country had to deal with France to make sure they wouldn't close the border for those people so they can still come over here to help us work. Otherwise, our hospitals would be closed. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, here our interstates are all open, so you can travel. Nobody's going to stop you. But if you decide to take a back road and go to the liquor store over the line, they're going to stop you.
Right.
Yeah, that's crazy. Well, Florida.
I would
Go
say
ahead.
mine has been affected down here because a lot of our buyers come from the Northeast. And so they're not able to even get here. And I need to mute y'all.
That just woke my dog up who's sleeping on the couch.
Oh no, she touched her laptop again.
She did. But she got it back up this time.
You know, this whole thing with us being essential or not has been a problem here, because as well as they've done with containing the virus and, you know, the whole health aspect of it, they did really well. But what they didn't do so well is they didn't want to shut us down, simply because if a family needs to get out of a place and needs to find a new apartment or so, they need us to be there. So they couldn't shut us down. But at the same time, they're telling us not to, you know, do showings and open houses and stuff, so we can't really do anything, and that affects the state aids that they've come up with. So all the independents have been gotten financial aid from the government, except us, because we are not closed. You know, some of the requirements to get those state aids say that you have to be shut down, but we weren't shut down. Although technically we are, because we can't do anything. So we're stuck, you know, in between a rock and a hard place there. So we haven't gotten any aids, and which, you know, makes it more difficult.
We are going through the same thing in the United States. So we had to apply for certain grants and certain loans as we are all small business owners. And a lot of that money went to the larger corporations and was gone by the time our applications were even looked at or processed. I still have my SBA loan pending, and it's, you know, I filled out the application with my lender the first day that it came out. And I also applied for what we call the payroll protection program. I've made no progress with that. So it really is difficult when business is down, but we're still allowed to work, but we can't get the grants and the loans that our country's offering because they've gone out to the larger business owners.
Right.
You know, so it seems very similar to where you're at in that perspective.
Yes.
So are you, so a lot of these countries that we've talked to, like you just mentioned, your open houses, what are your real estate? Do you have real estate rules, laws, regulations? Do you need to be licensed? Do you have an MLS system that you use to promote your listings to other realtors?
Yeah, well, there's a lot there. So yes, we have to be certified. Although lots of people aren't certified because they got grandfathered into, you know, the system. They started early, but they want to crack down on this. So yes, nowadays, if you start, you have to get certified. Yeah, we don't have an MLS, and which changes the entire dynamic of how you do transactions. I've had a Tom Ferry coach for 2 years now, and we've talked about this over and over and over, because some of the things that he was trying to get me to do just don't work if you don't have the same system.
Right.
So the closest we have to an MLS is our own Remax, you know, database, because there's only really one larger group like Remax in Luxembourg. I mean, Century 21 is here, but they haven't opened an office yet. I don't know how that works. And Keller Williams is starting to come, but other than that, there's no large group like Remax. We have 16 agencies right now in Luxembourg. So that's the best we can do. You know, the data that we have in our own database is what we use as a mini MLS, you know, but yeah, we don't have another one. There are some companies now that are working on that. They're trying to come up with, you know, trying to include all the other agencies outside of Remax to create something like an MLS. But so far, it's not mature.
So how are you aware when there's a property on the market?
Well, there's online portals. So, for example, if FISBO would go on we have three major online portals that they would post their stuff. So, if we want to find FISBOs, we have to dig through those online portals to find them. Yeah. Luckily, I created a script. So, I had someone in Pakistan write a little script to me that goes and fetches the FISBOs for me and inputs them in my database. So, I don't have to do that. But yeah, it's a little more difficult. We also won't find out about expireds, again, because we don't have an MLS.
So Tom Ferry was not the perfect coach for you because Tom Ferry really does focus on the for sale by owners and the expired listings and
yes. So yeah, I mean, it wasn't Tom Ferry himself. It was one of Tom Ferry's coaches.
right. Yeah.
But I did learn a lot, especially about the psychology of how you speak to clients, how you get someone to lower their price or accept an offer. The whole psychology behind that. I learned a lot from that, and also they kept us up to date on all kinds of new tools that are out there that we can use. Unfortunately, most of those tools we can't use because they're only available for the US. For example, you guys have companies that write content with market updates and stuff that you can send to your clients. We don't have that, so we have to come up with all of that on our own. We also don't have any good statistics, so we only have one government body that does statistics, but all those statistics are based on advertised prices, not real sales prices. So then again, we have to fall back on our Remax, database and just use that as the most accurate data we have. But it's not much.
Right. Do you know what the Remax percentage of market share is in your area, or is there no way to determine that without the actual data that would be provided by the MLS or by?
I don't think there's a way of figuring that out.
Right.
I mean,
when you drive down the street, are there more Remax signs than Keller Williams signs?
Well, Keller Williams is not here yet. I mean, they bought the franchise for Luxembourg, so they're trying to start up now, but they don't have an office yet. And Century Toronto doesn't have one either. There's a couple of really small ones, like a European brand or maybe even national brands, but they're so small they may have 2 or 3 offices. So we have 16 offices now. So yes, you see more Remax ads and Remax signs. But we're also still growing. We're still new. I think this is now the 9th or the 10th year that Remax is in Luxembourg. So we'll still take a couple more years until we flooded the market.
Awesome. So similar, like in Italy, do you have to do all of the research on the property yourself? Do you, with the lack of MLS data and online data surrounding this specific property, do you kind of start to finish the entire transaction? Do you have an attorney there to be there for closing? Kind of give me the rundown on your process of purchasing or selling a property in Luxembourg.
Yeah, so when we meet a person who wants to sell their home, we have to do all the research we need to do an estimation, to do an assessment of the value of the home. So we have to go measure the home. We have to, do a comparative analysis. And again, we use the data that we have in our Remax database because there's no other better database to find homes. And we can compare with what's on the market. So that's what we use to figure out a sales price. And then most of the time we do both sides of the deal. So there's only the seller who pays a commission. So there's no commission on the buyer side. That's why most of the time we do both sides of the deal. And that's another little difference in the dynamic between Remax in Luxembourg and Remax in the States, for example, because because the buyer doesn't pay a commission, it's much less likely that you'll share with an agent, or that an agent will bring the buyer, because in the end no one gets much. So I mean, it's different.
Right.
But yeah, then we do the sale, and then at the end of the sale there's a closing, and for that we have a notary. But there's no home inspection. We don't do home inspections. They can, if they hire someone privately, they could, but it's not usual. And yeah, so
Yeah, that seems a little bit crazy to not
Yeah.
do.
Do you have buyer representation at all? I mean, are they even buyers or agents bringing buyers? Are they representing them?
it does happen. So when we have a bunch of buyers that are looking for homes, for example, I can then try to sell one of the other Remax agents' listing with my buyer. I can bring the buyer, and then the other agent will have to share his commission with me. But it doesn't happen very often. Even if you try, I mean, buyers are liars, so most of the buyers don't end up buying. So I've learned now not to spend too much time on the buyers. Because it's such a hot seller's market right now that it's much better to try to get listings than to work with spend a lot of time on a lot of buyers.
Yeah, that makes sense 100%. And that's what we've seen with the Remax agents and brokers from around the world that we've had on the show, is that they cooperate in sharing commissions, typically with other Remax brokers, and everybody else is just kind of double ending the deal and representing the full transaction, which is so much different than in the United States.
Yeah. We also don't have lockboxes. So the whole, this is why I said in the beginning, the whole dynamic of how we do transactions, it's so much more labor intensive because you are doing everything yourself. You don't have lockboxes. You don't have systems that make it easy, to get it done quicker. That's why also most of the agents in Europe don't do as many transactions as agents in the States. It's just, the systems aren't in place, and the industry as a whole, I think, isn't as mature as it is in the States and in Canada.
Right. So we had Tabitha Wewell jump on the show. And is she frozen?
I think she's frozen again.
Am I frozen?
You are, but I can hear you.
All right. Well, I don't have such a crazy face as before.
No, you've had much.
There I am.
There you are. So Tabitha, as a single agent, does somewhere between 75 and 100 transactions per year herself in Ohio without an assistant.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. And, and I have a team of 3 agents, and we did not do that many transactions last year, although, I merged my brokerage and kind of started back into listing and selling after taking that 6-year break of being a broker and an owner of a Remax franchise. But now I'm back on track, and, with COVID slowed us down a little bit, but I'm still thinking we're going to hit over 75 to 100 once we're back full time in the swing of things.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
So
yeah, I think there's no one in Luxembourg that makes close to that. I mean, I did the first year and the second year, I did 23 transactions each year. And this year I thought, I was doing well. I did a couple of sales in the beginning of the year, and then I got derailed. But I think even the best ones, they're not doing more than 40 or 45, because I think it's impossible unless you create a team. And creating teams has always, I've tried a couple of times, and there's some people that have tried, but it's just, I don't know, for some reason it hasn't worked.
right.
Teams,
Right.
Are teams pretty popular there or no?
No, not at all. No,
Okay.
I don't think anyone has a team. You know, they may have someone who helps a little bit with administrative things, but even if you ask for a buyer's agent, that doesn't work well because you don't do that many transactions with buyers alone. So buyer's agents don't stick around.
Right.
So if
Yeah.
a buyer's agent does come along, do you also have to meet them at the home to let them in the home, or the sellers are there letting people in?
Yeah, either you'd have to go there and let them in, or sometimes I tell them to come get the keys at the agency and then do the visit yourself. You know, because we don't have lockboxes. And, you know, the whole thing is also an educational thing. If we started to work with lockboxes now, we'd have to educate homeowners on what a lockbox is. They have no clue. Even now, they don't know what an open house is. So if we want to do open houses, they look at us like a deer in the headlights, you know.
This is my favorite lockbox right here. It's the Supra electronic box, so it logs every time an agent opens to get the key out. So we know who's in there, who's coming and going.
Yeah, I have a couple sitting over
Yeah.
here also.
It's a nice little safety, for the seller to let them know, who's coming in their home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, we had this conversation many times about the lockbox issue, but and unless all the other agents are on board, I think it's not going to take off. So we might want to try, just at our agency, see if that helps. But just telling agents that, hey, come get the key and do the visit, that's pretty much the same as doing a lockbox. So at least I don't have to go there with other agents with unqualified buyers. So yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. 100%.
How do you qualify your buyers?
Well, we ask them lots of questions. So we try to get them to come to the office, although most people don't want to. So if they come to the office, we can, talk a bit more in detail. But I ask all the questions that we've been told, that all the qualification questions as much as we can. But there's two trains of thoughts. Some people say, well, do visits with every buyer, even if they're unqualified. At least if he has something to sell, you can try to get the listing from that person, even though he doesn't buy the place that you showed. And the other idea is, well, no, only do visits with people that qualify. How do you guys do it?
Qualify them. We'll ask them if they're working with another agent so we don't step on their toes. And then we'll go back and ask them if they've talked to a lender, and if they haven't, I won't meet with a buyer unless they've been pre-approved or at least talked with my lender and he's working with them. One for my safety, two for theirs, and I want to know who they are. And of course, with everything online now, we can scrub the database, find everything of who the relationships are, everything that we've got in that in the social media. Sorry, my phone was going. But we'll ask all those questions, and typically I won't meet, and I don't want anybody showing one of my listings that isn't qualified.
Right.
Yeah.
So what about that thought that if you do a visit with a buyer who's not qualified, at least you may get the chance of getting his listing if he has something to sell?
I'm pretty direct. If I have a listing or if I am interested in their listing or they have something to sell, we'll talk about that versus the house that they want to buy yet.
Right.
Unless they can buy without selling.
Right.
Yeah, I always, and Deb just commented also, qualify first for safety reasons as well as not to waste my time. I will not show a house, and my buyer's agents will not show a house without identification, a pre-qualification letter from a lender that we love and trust, or a proof of funds. I get a lot of phone calls because I'm mainly a listing agent, and then I have 2, almost 3 buyer's agents on my team and my assistant. And so I'll get a phone call or a text message. Hey, I want to see this house. I want to put in an offer. Meet me at the house right now. And just for safety reasons, number one, I'm not getting up and going to a vacant house at 7 o'clock at night to meet someone that refuses to give me a copy of their identification, a proof of funds, or how they're going to be purchasing the property, because that to me is wasted time. So right now I'm doing Zoom meetings, and this is the new Meet in My Office, and it can be FaceTime, Facebook Messenger via video, Zoom, Skype, however is the easiest for the buyer and the seller to meet. And then we make sure to get them qualified before showing them anything. Yeah.
The thing we noticed is that now that we're trying to work also more with Zoom and doing virtual visits, and we realized that we can use this even when the confinement's over, at least to qualify some buyers that are not that serious. At least they can check out the home, and if there's something they don't like, we don't have to go to the house to show it. So that may be a good thing. I saw Taylor Hack. He put a post in the Facebook group that we're in. With a really good idea where in BombBomb, you can do a screen recording, and you have your little face in it. So you can show the home with the photos, and you can show the plans and whatever, and you can do your commentary as you show these things. It's a really cool feature in BombBomb. So it's a video that you can end up sending to your clients, so they see the home with your commentary. And it's a really easy way also to show the house without having to go there.
Yeah, that's great. I put a listing on the market. What day is today? It's Tuesday. It's Tuesday. I put a listing on the market over the weekend, and my photographer went. He did a full drone video walkthrough, 50 pictures, and the 3D Matterport tour, which is like walking through the dollhouse. And I listed another property yesterday, and my photographer, videographer, he's still there right now, getting all of the video shots, so people can really take that full tour. And I have done this on all of my listings, but I think I wasn't doing the Matterport before with the 3D dollhouse tours, just because I personally don't like them. Mm-hmm. But I think right now, in the virtual age that we're living in, with social distancing and less human contact, that having your marketing on point to the fact that the buyers can go ahead and do a drive-by of the property, see if it's the neighborhood that they love, and then, because they've already walked through the property online, if that's the property they're still in love with, now's time to go ahead and open the door and let them in.
That's a great point. We used to get everybody just get them in. You didn't want to give them too many pictures, too much information. You wanted them to come in and see the extras and the surprises. And now it's like we've turned and we've shifted and we've said, we're not going to waste everybody's time. Do you even like the house? All right, then let's get you in the house.
Yeah. And that's kind of how I've always done it. I've never been huge on showing 15 or 20 houses. I'm like, let's sit down, let's go through everything, let's find your wants, your needs, what you love, and then let's go see maybe 3 houses, because
my spiel.
Oh, yeah, I know, because showing 25 houses is I think that if you have the list of all of those needs, that you can really disqualify a lot of properties in that search.
Especially in a busy market.
What's that?
Especially in a busy market where the one isn't on the market for long.
Yeah.
You know, they've got to get right to it, not in the next round.
Yeah, absolutely. So, what is your plan when you reopen after COVID? Do they say in your area that there's a second wave of COVID coming as well? Because here in the States, they're saying that there could be a second wave, a third wave. Obviously, nobody knows exactly what's going to happen because no one still knows much about the virus at all, other than the effects it has. But what's your plan reopening?
Well, I've on Facebook, I've posted ads of the listings that I've signed that are coming. So they are like coming soon ads, and
Right.
if they're interested, they can sign up. They get forwarded to my site where I collect their information, so I can stay on top of them. So it's like I haven't posted the ad, but people are, submitting their information if they're interested.
How are you going to line up seeing them or meeting with them?
Well, so they sign up, and then I already made videos and also those bomb screen recordings, so I can show that to them now. So they know the place, so they can decide if it's still something that interests them. And the day where we can do visits again, I'll have a bunch of people that are qualified, ready to go, ready to buy. That's my plan.
Perfect.
What about PPE?
Perfect. And you can line them up with their masks on 6 feet away from each other and disinfect in between each one going into the house.
Yes, we'll have to do that with masks and all. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what's different is that because our curve has been slowing down for a little longer than you guys. I think we are maybe a week ahead of you guys. So I get the feeling, without being, I'm not a doctor or anything like that, but I get the feeling that you in the States you're more in the thick of things still, and you're trying to open a little quicker than we have. We've waited longer. The curve has been dying down longer, and now they're being slowly, thinking about opening up. I think that's the difference. That's why you guys are already now thinking of opening up, although we are like a week or maybe 10 days ahead of you guys in that curve.
Yeah.
Still staying closed. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
We're state by state. We've got a lot of people struggling now, losing jobs. We've lost way too much. So we're trying to get everybody open as quick as possible, but as safely as possible.
Yeah. So today they've had another meeting where they announced that they're going to test everyone. So Luxembourg is roughly the size of Rhode Island. We have 600,000 people, and they realize now that they can test everyone. We have enough tests for everyone. So they are going to start with the kids that are going to school in about a week or so. So they're testing about 20,000 people a day. So far they've tested 40,000, I think. Yeah. And so the idea is to test as many people as they can, so that they can see who still has the virus, who can infect someone, who's safe to go to work, and so on. So that's their plan now. Test
Right.
Tourism there?
Yeah, but right now it's dead. I mean, no one can get into the country because the Germans closed the border, so no one can get in there. So there's no tourism at the moment. I mean, everything is dead. There's no one in the streets except for, as I said before, they opened the construction industry. So anything that's building homes, they are working right now.
Yeah. So right now, from what I read this morning, is that the U.S. only has enough tests for 2% of our population, but we have 334 million people. Yeah. So our lack of testing has been high, and we're currently, as I can pull up my little app here, we're at 988,000 positive cases, which is larger than your country.
Exactly.
Yeah. And we're at, 56,253 deaths, with 111,000 recoveries.
Yeah.
So,
we have 89 deaths and 40,000 infected.
Wow.
but that's pretty low compared to other countries. So if you go by percentage, it's pretty low because they jumped on it very early.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So off of the COVID subject and off of real estate, what is fun and exciting to do in Luxembourg?
Lots of stuff. I mean, it's a very old country, so we have lots of old castles and underground passageways. So yeah, it's really cool. So the history of it is cool. Other than that, we have great food. We have great wine. Yeah, it's small. So if you come here, a weekend is enough to see lots of cool places. So yeah, you should definitely come visit.
Yeah, that sounds great. Good food, good wine. How's the weather typically?
Well, yeah, that's not so good. I mean, at the moment it's pretty good. The past week it was nice. That's why I've been biking a lot. I've been a bit pink. But yeah, weather is not our strong suit.
Business, castles, and wine are your strong suit.
Exactly.
When is typically your busy season there?
Well, it should be now. It should be now before the summer hits. Up until I would say mid-July or so, and then it dies down a little bit, and then in September it picks up until December. Because the notaries tend to go on vacation the 1st of January. So there won't be any closings until mid-February or end of February. And then it picks up. And now we were supposed to be, selling.
Right. Notaries are off from January till mid-February.
So after they work until the 31st of December. And then they go on vacation for, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 weeks. So then mid-February it will pick up again with the closings. I mean, we can still sell, but it dies down a little bit because no one wants to go see homes over Christmas. So, yeah.
So they choose to take their vacation time while it's become quiet.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It doesn't keep us from selling. We can still sell and then wait for the notaries to come back to do the closings. But in general, it dies down a little bit. Yeah.
We're all blown away because if notaries are on vacation, I mean, notaries are signing them, but our counties file the paperwork. But if somebody's on vacation, there's somebody else covering for them.
Right.
We just don't vacation enough in the United States.
Right.
We've got to get out of here, ladies.
That's what it all comes down to. That's what we're learning through all of this wandering around the world is that we're not enjoying life enough.
Our first stop is going to be Luxembourg.
They have like common vacation times. For example, the entire construction industry goes on vacation all at the same time. So throughout August, there's nothing happening until September, and then everyone starts to work again. So yeah, it's weird. There are times like that where things die down. Yeah.
Are they paid during that time?
Are they what?
Paid. Vacations.
Yeah. I mean, this is like a government arrangement, where they send the entire construction industry on vacation all at once. Yeah. I don't know. That's just a thing here. So
Make you think.
It really does make you think what we're doing wrong, ladies.
I don't know if I want somebody to tell me when to take my vacation though.
I know, because I like to take so many little vacations and trips.
For the moment too.
Yeah, sometimes like I'm just jumping on a plane and who knows.
Go to Miami.
Maybe the difference is that here in Luxembourg, there aren't as many independents. So like most people are salaried. So it's everything is a little bit more structured and more, organized. But we independents, we like to go on vacation when we want. But, the biggest majority of Luxembourg doesn't work like that. To be an independent here in Luxembourg is still a little odd. Yeah.
When do you go on vacation?
Well, I go whenever I feel like I don't have that many listings, or I try to be flexible. But I see, like January, beginning of January would be a good time to go.
That's where
And then,
warm.
of course, July and August, when everyone's gone, even the clients are gone. Only the clients that are really serious about having, needing to find a place, they'll stay here. So the clients that you do find throughout July and August are the ones that are really serious, but unfortunately there are less of them.
Gotcha.
Interesting.
So any last words on why people should move to Luxembourg, why they should contact you to be their agent if they're ready to sell, if they're interested in learning more about your area or moving to Luxembourg?
Well, there must be tons of reasons to move to Luxembourg, because there's a lot of people moving here. I mean, there's so many French coming over here, and it's mostly for work. So there's really good jobs here. The salaries are higher than the neighboring countries. That's why everyone wants to come here. So that's a really good reason to come. When you're here, you have really good social benefits. Like the whole system is really well organized. It's a good health system. So it's a safe place. You have a good job. It's a safe place to live. But if you're looking for sun, maybe you got to go a little further south.
Well, that's completely understandable. And we'll go ahead and get this wrapped up. It was so great to have you on the show. And thank you for reaching out to us. And like we were discussing before the show, we're definitely going to have to make it to the RE/MAX European Convention once conventions are back rolling again. And you definitely will have to meet us in Las Vegas at R4.
Yeah, I was thinking of coming to the next one, so hopefully I'll get to see you guys there.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll have to add you to our little party posse group.
A party posse.
So, yeah. Yep, gotta love it. So once again, thank you so much, Marco Kasel, RE/MAX in Luxembourg. And we will, as I'm kind of scrolling through, we will be updating everyone on our next show very, very soon. If anyone from around the world internationally would like to share about their real estate business, feel free to reach out to us, text message, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and we will get back to you. I hope everyone has an amazing, amazing day and a wonderful week, and we will see you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.